I think it's an exciting day for Canada. It's an exciting day for this industry around the world. Obviously we've seen multiple states legalize cannabis for adult use, and Uruguay, but now we have the first G7 nation to legalize cannabis for adult use. It will be exciting to watch this industry grow here in Canada. It will be exciting to see additional countries around the world legalize medical cannabis. The exciting part about today is that now companies such as ours get an opportunity to prove out the growth. And it's a long time coming. I think that it's an historic day for Canada, and obviously the eyes of the world are on Canada.
Now, proving out the growth, that's interesting to me because that will take a little bit of time. It'll take quarterly reports, and we'll see how things transpire over the next weeks and months here in Canada. But the run-up to this point, the exuberance we had seen, the money pouring into the space, do you expect a bit of a pause now as people wait to see you prove out the growth?
I honestly don't. For us, it's about deploying capital around the world. So not only in Canada. When I look out over the next 6, 12, 24 months, we currently have 35 countries in the world that have legalized medical cannabis. Tilray exports to 11 of them on 5 continents. But it's very clear to me over the next few years that we will see, we'll get to 40, 50, 60 countries. And so we're very early on in the global growth curve. And I also think we'll see additional countries 3, 4, and 5, legalize cannabis for adult use. And they'll base their regulatory framework on the framework being established here in Canada. And so that's what I mean when I say the eyes of the world are on Canada, because regulators in other countries are looking at how Canada is doing this today. And I expect to see additional countries pass laws over the next 12 months.
Now, we took a look at some of the metrics across both yours and some of your competitors, Cronos and Hexo and Tilray. Your costs for getting the marijuana in the door is rather high, and of course everyone sells it for around the same price. So you're the most valuable marijuana company out there by market cap, yet your margins aren't quite as wide and as attractive as some of your competitors. How do you defend the market cap given those numbers?
So we're at a point of rapid scaling. We're scaling our facilities here in Canada. Historically, we've grown indoors in Canada. We are now growing indoors in a greenhouse in Canada, where you're seeing our COGS decrease rapidly. We've harvested an outdoor crop, actually 2 now, in Portugal, where you have dramatically lower COGS. And so we'll always grow indoors and in greenhouses. As far as I know, we're the only licensed producer in Canada that's grown an outdoor crop anywhere in the world. And we'll continue to grow outdoors in additional countries beyond Portugal, but we'll continue to grow outdoors in Portugal. So I expect our COGS to be extremely low when compared to our competitors globally.
As we said, a lot of money has been made in this space, but there's a lot of people out shorting the stocks. The short interest in your name in particular is quite substantial, much more than some of your competitors as well. How do you fight back against that kind of weight on the name?
Well, since our IPO, our share price has increased about 800%. And we have while we do have a small float, we have a group of long investors who, when we met with them during the IPO and since the IPO, we met with U.S. long-only blue-chip mutual fund investors who wanted a company to IPO on a U.S. exchange. Many of them couldn't invest in TSX companies. They wanted a company regulated by the SEC, and they wanted a company that reported in U.S. GAAP financials. And so we knew there would be interest in a company that met all those requirements. And so when we IPO'd, we were optimistic about the interest, but it seems that there were a lot more institutional and retail investors in the U.S. Interested in this particular industry than even we anticipated, and it shows the interest in this industry and in this product, and it puts pressure on us to continue to grow and expand our operations, not only here in Canada, but in other countries around the world.
Now, those big gains that we've seen in Tilray stock since the IPO, I'm curious, have you sold any of your own stock?
Zero.
Zero. Have you been a buyer of any more?
There was a public disclosure of a share purchase on the date of an IPO, so I was a buyer at the IPO. All
right, so you're holding on to the shares.
Like most of, I haven't sold a share. Don't expect to sell a share. I've been doing this for 8 years. I have a long-term view of the opportunity. It's a global growth opportunity. While today is an historic day, it is day one, and we expect to be in this industry for a very long time, and grow a very large company that not only is successful and obtains significant market share here in Canada, but gains significant market share in other medical cannabis countries and other adult use countries around the world.